Oh no, I was muted. I went on this whole spiel. Anyways, Sitting at Sea. It's me, Z. Hi everybody. Do you guys like the new setup? Well, the V in VTubing stands for scuffed, so this is perfect. Um, I might have to change my stream elements layout so that I can see the chat better on the left side. But how do you guys like the new setup? Hello, class, or officially, hello, orbitals or orbeez. It's so great to see everybody. Let me go through the attendance list. Hello, Terrified Games, who just left. Hello, Ricardo Berrigan. Hello, Cheeky. Hello, Space Guy Rye. Hello, PogChamp Senpai. Hello, Aegis Slayer. Hello, Ducky Tomahawk. Hello, Squad XZO. Hello, Cleonium Ina. Hello, Arctelos. These names are very wild. Hello, Ozymandias. Thank you so much for joining when you haven't had power. That this is crazy. Hello, Tika. Hello, Laser Rhino. Hello, Rexus. Hello, Tori Whiting. Hello, Panzer Fan. Oh my god, there's so many. Hello, Mayborn Flower. Yes, if you are here, please say present. Um, Professor Z is here. Hello, Rexus. I hope I've been able to get everybody. But yay! I hope you guys like the new setup. So today we are going to go through 70 some questions. You guys sent me a lot of questions. I expected there to be like maybe a few dozen, but this blew everything out of the water. So I split it into two categories. I started with the science category, and then we're gonna have the honorable mention section, which some of you guys are kind of wilding. Some of you guys are wild orbeez. And then later we're gonna have the all about Z. Okay, hello Mayborn Flower. And yeah, okay. First off, thanks guys for being here. I guess I haven't had the chance to really bring this up until last stream, but this is sort of my second to last week that I will be live streaming. So next week will be my last week live streaming, and then after that, I won't be able to live stream, but I will finally be releasing all of the explainer videos that I'm working on, and I kid you not, there are like maybe hours worth of content that I will be posting over the next few weeks. That includes under 60 seconds explainers, that includes long form explainer series, and so forth. So you guys have a lot to be hyped about, but that also means that I won't be able to actually chat with you guys live for quite some time. So yes, Ricardo Berrigan, yes, let's enjoy our time together as much as we can. And Rexus, yes, you should stay till the honorable mention section because some of these questions were very unhinged. Um, okay, so let's get started. Let's see if this works correctly. Okay, so first category. First category will be science. First question. First question is from Cheeky. I've never taken a class on any of your specialties, so I hope I don't sound too ignorant. Question, do black holes have wormholes in it? Where does the light disappear to when swallowed up by the black hole? Well, first of all, I don't think any question is ignorant. After all, we all have a learning point. We all have a starting point. And so, as long as you're happy and excited to learn, that's a great mindset to have. Um, I think so. If you haven't watched my recent video, I definitely went into this in depth. Um, Black holes are theorized to be able to have wormholes in them, or even connect to parallel universes or anti-universes. Now, the properties of how that would be possible is a whole other question. For example, if we would want to enter a parallel universe, we would have to be going faster than the speed of light, which is just not possible. So they are theorized, and well, there's really no way that we will be able to know unless we spot a wormhole out there in space. I think it's just really interesting that that is a possibility to begin with. Where does the light disappear to when swallowed up by the black hole? Uh, Well, there's this diagram called a Penrose diagram where it sort of maps what is in the vicinity of a black hole. So there's like the parallel universe, anti-universe, so forth. And so the light could potentially just it could go into a singularity, it could potentially go into a parallel universe. The options are limitless, and I feel like I wish I knew the answer to this because this is actually one of the questions that I'm most excited about in astrophysics or just in black hole physics in general because there's so many unanswered questions about how black holes work. Yeah. The yes, or the light alternatively, the light gets eaten by me. That's a beautiful answer. All right, next question. Is there some anything that is naturally occurring that cannot be explained by science? This one is by Cheeky again. I think one thing there have been so many spooky stories about ghosts that I've heard of. Like, for example, one of my friends, she had this sort of surreal experience where her younger cousin was able to suddenly speak a language that she did not grow up with at the same time that her grandfather passed away. I've also heard of spooky stories of people actually having like haunted houses because there was like a death in the family or I don't know, like the house was haunted. I don't know if any of this is real, but it definitely is very spooky and can't be explained by science itself. Yes, Cheeky, the midnight thoughts came in. I mean, this is a very spooky question indeed. Um, Another thing that I've been thinking about is the Mandela effect, which is this idea that a lot of people can have the same idea or the same like understanding of a concept. For example, a lot of people thought that Nelson Mandela died in prison when that wasn't actually the case. I actually recently had a really weird Mandela effect moment when I thought that the guy who plays Joker, like the actor, I thought he passed away. But apparently that wasn't the case, and I apparently am not the only person who thought that. Um, so that is also just really weird. Maybe that's a psychological thing. There is a psychological VTuber out there. Her name is Syzygy. We've recently been chatting, and yeah, no, maybe she'll be able to give a better answer for this than I can. Yeah, no. Talk about spooky action at distance. The language thing is crazy. Yeah, no, it's really weird. Like, that just can't be explained by science. Like, how can somebody just suddenly know a language out of the blue? Yeah, I think Mayborn Flower is right. Yeah, I think I mixed up, like, the actors or something. I saw maybe, like, a headline in passing and didn't realize. Um, but I think, like, the Nelson Mandela's, like, death is also one of the weirdest things that have happened that can't really be explained. It just maybe means that a large group of people just collectively thought one thing, and yeah, really odd. Okay, next question. Okay, what are your credentials and what gave you the idea to share your passion for science as a VTuber? Well, I consider myself a physicist. Um, and what gave you the idea? Okay, so I am really passionate about scientific communication and just being able to share physics ideas to people and just having people be like, "Oh my god, aha, this makes sense." Is just something that really excites me. And I had previously seen some other science communication VTubers and been like, "Wow, like they really are like educating the populace." And I just thought that was really epic. I think I also was really into like VTubing, just like watching it casually, so I just thought why not? Um so yeah, that's sort of how I started, and I think I've always been passionate about science and I've also just really liked VTubing, so this is a really interesting weird intersection between the two. All right, next question. We are zooming through these boys because we have 70 of them to go through. Do you have a favorite research paper in your field? If yes, which one and why? Oh, for this one, okay, maybe this isn't an exact research paper, but I really like the review research papers. So every once in a while, somebody releases a review. And what that is sort of summarizing the discoveries within a specific field, and also just what kind of things that people have been working on in research in that field recently. And so actually the other day there was a review research paper that was published on galaxy formation. Let me see if I can try to pull it up and send it into the chat. And I read this one this morning and I thought it was really good. I feel like these review research papers are also just really great to get a basic understanding of a topic. Here, let me try to see if I can find it. I mean, there's also this one, which I thought was pretty epic. Here. Like, oh, this one's very mathy. But they're really just great descriptions of what people have been working on. I am really struggling to find this. Let me just try to, like, find one. Cosmological simulations of galaxy formation. Oh, this one looks oh wow, this one has some epic photos. Here, let me send this one. I'm trying to copy and paste, please. Okay, hopefully you can click that. Now, class, if everybody can turn to page 4. If everybody can turn to page 4. I mean, there's some, like, pretty epic photos on here. And I guess just by skimming this one, it seems to be different simulations. So Simba is like one of the simulations, Illustris TNG is one of the simulations, and they are constructed in different ways. So this one has like this one's a dark matter simulation, this one's a dark matter only simulation, and sort of seems like they're comparing the two and also talking about how they set these up. And so there are so many simulations out there, and these review papers kind of just put them all into one spot in a way that's really accessible and easy to understand. So yeah, I hope, class, I hope you guys enjoy that. I really like to know how findings by web where spiral galaxy formula. Oh, about that. Okay, I'm going to go on a slight tangent. So if you guys haven't heard, they've been finding these really massive galaxies in the early universe that just shouldn't be able to exist. And I think the real reason why we're seeing these large galaxies isn't because there's actually large galaxies out there, but rather because we are observing these galaxies incorrectly. So, like, what exactly do I mean by that? So when we look at a galaxy, we can extract a ton of clues from its light. Like, just by looking at its light, we can determine its mass and even like how it's evolved over time and its chemical composition and how many stars it has. So we can extract a lot of information from light. But as we're peering back further back in time, it seems like those methods that we've used in the past actually aren't accurate for these distant galaxies. And so what it's actually doing is that it's overestimating the mass of these distant galaxies. So it's actually not that these galaxies are really massive. It's more that there are just like normal sized galaxies out there, and we are actually just misreading the actual properties of these galaxies because our methods aren't caught up to date. So yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. That was another tangent. But yeah, that's just what I think about that. That is not set in stone, but that could possibly be a theory. It's actually getting quite dark, so I will go ahead and briefly turn on the light. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. Oh my god, how do I load this back? Alright. Oh no, the slides moved. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, just needed to turn on the light switch. Which one were we on again? Okay, we were on this one. What counts as a surprising calculation? Yeah, no. The margin of error, I mean, it's pretty big. It's like, I can't give an exact number, but the galaxies that we're seeing in the early universe now are basically as massive as they would be if they were born billions of years later, like maybe like a few billion years later. And the math just doesn't check out because we would need time for these galaxies to form. And it's definitely not the case that like our universe is broken. So there are currently existing like dark matter, dark energy theories that define like how well does the gravity clump, how well does these like galaxies come together and form. And this has been proved by so many different ways, whether that's like from the particle scales all the way to the astrophysical scales, what we've seen in our recent galaxies or in galaxy clusters. And so it wouldn't make sense for these massive galaxies to just appear unless our universe was broken, which is definitely not the case. So yeah, I think SpaceGyra, yeah, the methodology is incompatible with the newer technology. Yeah. And I think one thing that we're trying to do is be able to extract information better. And that includes things like understanding like how are galaxies born, how do galaxies die, and understanding the properties of these early galaxies so that we can best extract their information. Yeah. Well, that was a bit of a tangent. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay, I'm gonna drink I have a little bit of peppermint tea here. Gotta stay nice and cozy. Gotta make sure the throat is doing all right. All right, next question. What is your favorite paradox and why? Oh, I feel like off the top of my head, like Ship of Theseus. I mean, it's not really a paradox. It's just like a really funny like thought experiment. So for those of you who may not be familiar, the Ship of Theseus is this idea of like, let's say that you have a boat, you completely dismantle the boat. Wait. Yeah, no, you completely dismantle the boat and then you rebuild the boat in the same exact way, but with different materials. I think that's how exactly it's phrased. And so there have been like a lot of I've been seeing a lot of memes about this. As you may know, I am a surreal meme creator, and the Ship of Theseus is one of the most like common, funny, like meme ideas that I've seen. And another one off the top of my head is Olber's paradox. So what that is if you had a night sky and there were infinite stars that had formed throughout the universe. So like, let's say that the universe was infinite years old. Then if you were to look at the night sky, it would literally be white. It would be completely bright. And that's because at every possible position, there is a star's light that is coming through. And so this was sort of the first idea as to people thinking like, okay, the universe is not infinitely years old. It is not infinitely large. Because if that were the case, then all of these stars' lights would have reached us and all we would see is just like a heck ton of stars, aka an entirely bright sky. Yeah, if you replace the parts one at a time until all the original parts are gone. Yeah, so I think those are two of my favorite paradoxes to think about. I guess more black hole related, there is like the black hole information paradox, which is saying that information that goes into a black hole is lost forever. I really actually want to do a video on this, primarily because I don't really know much about this. And it's just like really interesting to think about. Like, if you were to toss like an encyclopedia into the black hole, like, I guess that would mean that the encyclopedia just like it would get spaghettified, it would get completely ripped apart, destroyed. But like, what does it mean that the information is lost forever? I think it would be really interesting to do a video about that and sort of explore what are the possibilities, like what exactly does that mean and how did people actually think of this? I think it was Stephen Hawking who thought of this in the first place. Panzerfan, we can take the Ship of Theseus to the extreme with the Boltzmann brain, where we somehow spontaneously get a perfect duplicate of a hypothesis ship. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, hold up. I need to sit down and, like, digest that. That's pretty crazy. Wait, spontaneously get a perfect duplicate of a hypothesis ship. What is a hypothesis ship? Like, is that, like, a ship of hypotheses? Like, oh, or is it, like, a pun on Theseus? I was thinking like Boltzmann brain, and then I freaked out. PogChamp, Senpai, I rarely read the solution. Read it again like 2 years later. Yeah, yeah. Would the paradox still be true with redshift and stuff? That's actually a great point. I guess that paradox was first thought about before the idea of redshift. Um, I guess in that case, it would be really odd because you couldn't see, you wouldn't be able to see in the visible light some of the stars. For example, like some of the light would have been redshifted so much that it's no longer in the visible spectrum. That's actually how the cosmic microwave background works, because the light that is emerged from the beginning of the universe has gotten stretched so far from the energetic region of the electromagnetic spectrum that it's so far stretched out that it's like in the microwave wavelength, um, which is crazy. Doesn't any kind of signal that turns to white noise lose information? That might actually be true. I haven't really thought of that. There's also the swamp man thought experiment, where you get struck by lightning in a swamp and unalive at the same time. This one makes another you. What the Sigma? You know what? Maybe we should just do a whole stream on what paradoxes are. I feel like that would be such a big hit. Honestly, even just a video on like different types of paradoxes. I guess that reminds me, I also thought of like a video on like different types of senses. So you know how you say like, oh, there's like the five senses, like hearing, seeing, whatever. But did you know that there's like other senses like proprioception, which is like knowing where your body parts are, and I think there's another one that's like knowing like what direction you're pointing at. Like there's so many ways to think about things. Space Guy Rye, every black hole leads to a pocket universe. Yeah, that was actually sort of the idea that was suggested by the Penrose diagrams, which was that you can actually have infinite multiverses if you are able to travel through black holes. Now, this is all just a theory, but it's just like really fun to think about, and it's one of those things that will be really hard to prove, simply because we can't really go into a black hole, and also it would require just a lot of effort to like photograph black holes and like explore the properties that way. I mean, we got a photo of a black hole, but that was with a literal Earth-sized telescope. That was like a humongous telescope. Yeah, the way that worked actually was because there was a telescope on like the one side of Earth and then the other side of Earth. It was like an array of telescopes scattered throughout Earth, and if you combine all the data together, you would basically form an Earth-sized telescope. And that's how we got the famous black hole photo. So yeah, I mean, black holes are just really funky. If you guys want, I would love to do a black hole series, because I feel like that would be I think that would be really interesting. There's so many different like layers and possibilities to that. All right. Next question. What is your favorite unanswered question? I think for me, off the top of my head, is what is dark matter? What is dark energy? So dark matter is basically this mysterious substance that is all throughout the universe, and we have no idea what it is. It's everywhere. I mean, it's a large portion of galaxies in their galactic halo. They make up like a large portion of galaxy clusters. In fact, they make up so much of a galaxy cluster that we've been able to photograph the gravitational effects of dark matter. Like, for example, like if you had two galaxy clusters coming towards each other, basically what we've been able to see is that the galaxies kind of get stuck in their gravitational interactions, and so they like slow down as they interact. But then the dark matter just like flows right through. But we've been able to measure that. And it's like super cool how we're exploring these. We're exploring this with like particle physics. We're trying to see if we can produce dark matter through high energy collisions. And this is like a whole other rabbit hole of its own. I definitely want to make a series on this, because the way that it works, one of the ways that it works that I've heard of, is that we are literally creating particles that are so high energy that are colliding at one another that it is able to go above the energy scales and reach into a literal other dimension called a hidden valley. And what this hidden valley is basically a world of dark matter where dark matter particles reside. And I'm going down such a nerd rabbit hole, but with a mediator particle, you can actually like grab some of this dark matter and bring it to the real world and be able to potentially observe it. It's so freaky. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but that's literally what they're trying to do at places like the Large Hadron Collider. They're also like trying to simulate that stuff within the collider, which is really crazy too. So I think it's really interesting the way that we're exploring dark matter is because we're looking at both the particle scales and the astrophysical scales. So it's really just like a physics-wide exploration. I love when the D&D lore turns real. Yeah, no, there's a hidden dimension. Did you know that? Wait, some people say that they don't believe dark matter exists. See, I think I'm on the side that dark matter does exist. Oh. Wow. Siri just activated for me.
Okay.
And it just activated again. Very excited for dark matter, I can tell. Yeah, no, I think it's really convincing that dark matter exists just because we've literally been able to observe it indirectly in galaxy clusters. Though, I guess it is so hard to get an idea of, like, what it's about. There's so many theories out there. There's, like, WIMPs, which are these, like, weakly interacting particles. There's this idea that it could be, like, tiny planets that are just, like, roaming in space, which I am not really convinced about. There's this idea that it could be, like, primordial black holes or whatever. It's crazy. It's, like, whole crazy genre. I definitely want to make a video. Yeah, no, gravitons. I've heard of ideas of it being, like, smaller particles like that. Yeah, crazy stuff. Whole different rabbit hole. Would love to make a series on it. What is your favorite scientific thinker? I think my favorite scientific communicator is definitely Neil deGrasse Tyson. I really like Carl Sagan too. I think they both really paved the way to making science accessible to everybody. And I mean, they got me into space. I'm pretty sure they inspired a whole new they each inspired a whole new generation of scientists or astrophysicists or even physicists, which is great. But I think scientific thinker in general, I feel like for galaxy physics, Edwin Hubble. I think a lot of people know him as just that, like, Hubble Space Telescope guy, but he really paved the way for a lot of things. For example, he found that the universe was expanding. He found galaxies that were beyond the Milky Way. And that just, like, totally revolutionized our whole way of thinking about galaxies and where we are in the universe. I also have gotten this is super super cool, by the way. I also got the chance to meet Jocelyn Bell Burnell once. She's the woman who discovered pulsars, which are rapidly rotating neutron stars, so like corpses of dead stars that are rotating in space, and their beams like swing by us like a lighthouse. And she was the first to actually detect those. And when she gave her talk, it was just really inspiring to hear how she was able to navigate being one of the first women in physics, or at least like at her college. So I think that is also just like really inspiring. Yeah. Pre-Twitter was a goat. NGT. Neil deGrasse Tyson was a goat. Yeah, no. I feel like I grew up watching like Cosmos. It was a show that came out like many, many years ago. There was the Carl Sagan version, and then there was a Neil deGrasse Tyson version. And the Neil deGrasse Tyson version, like, they really put their back into making it into, like, a visual experience. And as a visual learner, it revolutionized my life. Yeah. Pulsars are so cool. And dangerous. Yeah, no, pulsars are pretty epic, but maybe dangerous. Oh, your dress is pretty. Thank you. Do you have any more ideas for physics-based fashion regarding your VTuber model? Yes. Okay, so right now I really just have one fit. I promise you, I do laundry. I think I really want to do like a galaxy-themed one. So I know I haven't been able to show my full model other than at my debut, but my shoes are a photo of the Lagoon Nebula that I took. It would be really great to have like different astrophotography, or even if I can get better rigging, like have like little galaxies like floating over my head. That would be super epic. I will be the center of the universe. I will manifest this one day. Oh, Space Guy Rye. Yes, no, that is actually a great point. Yeah. What is gravity is also one of my favorite unanswered questions. I mean, it's so odd that we've been able to describe three out of the four fundamental forces. So the weak force, the strong force, electromagnetic force with particles. And nobody knows what the heck is going on with gravity. And there's this idea that there are these gravitons which mediate gravity, which basically like allow particles to like have the gravitational force. But yeah, like you're totally right. Like we have no idea what gravity actually is. It's so freaky. So many unanswered questions, so many epic things to think about. Yeah. Next question. Oh, your dress looks so cool. Oh, I guess I kind of combine these two together. Yes, thank you so much. I feel like a lot of people just see my model and they're like, oh, what is no, they're either like they're like, what in the world is that? Like, it's giving me like eye pain. Or B, oh my god, it's the cosmic microwave background. It's the first light of the universe. I definitely hope that it's the second. And I definitely want to create a video on like what's the cosmic microwave background, because I feel like a lot of people have been wondering like what is my dress about, and it would be really cool to share about what happened in the first 20 minutes of the universe, because a heck of a ton of things happened, including like the development of like particles and forces and stuff like that. All right. Would you be open to debunking things in the future? Yes, definitely. I think maybe I should start a Google form and gather responses and see what you guys want me to debunk. And I'm also like really happy to make like YouTube shorts explaining things too. Speaking of YouTube shorts, I do have a heck ton of them lined up, including stuff from like my visit to the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, stuff on the exploding star. Yeah, there's going to be a star that is exploding by the end of this month, and you can see it. I think I'll actually post that one tomorrow, because the sooner you guys know about it, the better. It's super exciting. I've been trying to look up at the sky every night, trying to catch it. Panzerfam, thank you so much for this CMB fit, for complimenting the CMB fit. Rexus, I would be real. Oh, heck no! No! No, now you know. Now you know. Now you know. And now whenever you see a pattern like this, you can be like, oh, that is the first light of the universe, and go on a nerdy rant. Yeah. Let me drink some tea real quick. Oh, wait. For those of you guys who haven't seen this already, if I drink tea with my left hand, look at all those hand gang signs. Yeah, it looks really odd. Okay, next question. Yeah, exploding star. Whoa, yeah, it's super exciting. What is your least favorite scientific topic, and why? Oh, I don't think I have a least favorite. I feel like I like all science, because all things are just like really crazy to think about. I guess like my favorite is definitely like physics, astrophysics. To be honest, I think in school I actually suck at biology. I call biology my kryptonite. Biology and like specifically the acids and bases unit in chemistry. Those two are my kryptonite. Um, I think it's just like maybe I'm just like so interested in things that are like large scale that maybe it's stuff that I don't understand. But I think it's mostly because I can't like memorize things very easily, maybe. Because I know biology is a lot of memorization. Hmm. Wouldn't most physicists hate the topic of metaphysics? What exactly is the definition of metaphysics? Let's see. Philosophy about the abstract concepts of things. I should probably know what this is. Oh, whoa. I'm like Googling this real quick. Oh, it's like connecting like the divine with physics. I think like, so here's my take on just like philosophy in general. I feel like a lot of physicists do philosophy because as you continue to study the universe, as you continue to explore astrophysics and these like humongous like objects that are just like way out of your comprehension, you just can't help but think that what is like so fundamental to us? Like why are we here? Like why am I able to think? Why am I able to think about what a galaxy is or what a galaxy cluster is? And I think like by the time you get that large scale, like philosophy is something that a lot of physicists like seek for as like some sort of explanation or some sort of rationale for why things exist. Um, so I think philosophy is actually really cool. I think it gets a little funky when people try to find connections between like religion and physics, and I know that's like a really controversial thing to talk about. But yeah, I think philosophy is sort of a way of exploring like a different type of answer that's not just objective. Yeah. Pogchamp Senpai, Redox reactions were my nemesis. Honestly, same. Oh my god. You're really putting me into a blast to the past here. Alright. Before I get too traumatized, I will go on to the next slide. Oh, well, before I forget, if you guys like biology, I highly recommend you guys watch Sarah. She's a biology VTuber. She has been so sweet. Um, she does like amazing biology content. Just a few days ago, she did one on like what is the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, and it was really fun. Um, and yeah, and then I think Phi the Neutrophil was also in here. He might still be here right now. But yeah, very epic content. They are helping me overcome my trauma in biology, which I think says a lot. All right, next question. If you could be any sort of particle, what particle would you be and why? Um, well, according to my lore, I technically am a photon. Um, but I think muons are pretty cool because they travel like near the speed of light. So the way that we like looked at muons in the first place, we were actually very confused about why they would exist because apparently according to like their lifetime, it would be too short for them to actually reach Earth, but we would detect them all the time and they pass through your body all the time. And it turns out the reason why is because these muons are traveling near the speed of light. And so their lifetime is time dilated with respect to us. And so it would appear as though their lifetime was longer. And so they would survive and reach Earth. I think that's pretty epic, not gonna lie. And yeah, no, I made a video on it. It's one of the videos in my special relativity series. I highly recommend you guys go check that out. Um, yeah. Hank Green's Journey to the Microcosmos. Ooh. Oh, yes, another Faye Stan. Another specimen member in the chat. Let's go. What is your favorite research topic to chat about? Um, I think definitely astrophysics. I just really like astrophysics. I think that's also my main area of expertise. I think I also just really like talking about galaxies. Though I feel like in general, physics as a whole, particularly galaxy astrophysics, maybe like a little bit of particle physics is pretty cool. I think also a few topics like special relativity, um, maybe quantum mechanics, stuff like that. I think that's definitely my favorite. I also want to make more videos on engineering. Um, I'm actually hoping to get into soldering, um, which is basically like building circuits. I have a soldering kit that I haven't opened yet, and I think I might do like a hand cam like stream or a video showing me put together this. I think it's like sunglasses or something. I will definitely do that. Um, so yeah, no, I think for now I really like astrophysics, but there is much more to come. And if you guys want to see me do like a coding video too, that might be cool too. Um, if you could have any time on any telescope, Earth or space. Oh, okay. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Light question. James Webb Space Telescope. And I think what I would do is I would do something like the Hubble Deep Field, where I would literally just point it to like a random patch in the sky and see what sort of galaxies I would see. Because the Hubble Deep Field really revolutionized our knowledge of galaxies because people thought, oh, it's like an empty patch, like there's gonna be nothing there. But then it was just a plethora of galaxies and it really transformed like there are so many galaxies out there. Um, I think it would be really great to also be like, hey, like this is my patch of the sky. Like, I've looked into this sky with the James Webb Space Telescope. Like, I've seen galaxies here that have never been observed before, which is great. Yes, soldering is very fun. I'm glad to see other soldering fans in the chat. Oh, yeah, no, I am very careful with soldering. I promise. I've definitely never burnt myself before. Yeah, soldering is lit. Yeah. Okay, who would win in a bar fight? Oh. Well, I feel like, not gonna lie, I'm biased towards NASA. Um, I guess the European Space Agency is pretty cool too. JAXA? I feel like I can't really think of much of them off the top of my head. Yeah, I think I'm biased towards NASA. Or I don't know if NASA would win, but I'd be rooting for NASA. I mean, I think they have like a lot of history. I think they're also working on some pretty epic stuff. I am huge proponent of Europa Clipper. It's a spacecraft that's gonna go visit Europa, which is one of the moons of Jupiter. And it's so exciting because there's a literal warm ocean underneath its surface. It's like it's warm, there's liquid water, and there might potentially be chemical compounds for life, which is like all three of the things you need for life. So I'm really excited for that, which is why I'm biased towards NASA. Yeah, who's got the bigger budget? Hey, I think the one thing that kind of puts NASA at a disadvantage, not gonna lie, is that they have been really iffy with budgets. I mean, they canceled this moon rover that was basically done. It was like Viper or something, and they just canceled it. And they are now planning to shut down the Chandra X-ray telescope, which is horrible because that basically means we're closing that window of our universe forever. We are, like, there's no X-ray telescope that is planned for a very long time. So that basically means, like, we won't be able to see, like, black holes very well or, like, high-energy astrophysics. It's horrible that they're just shutting it down. And even worse is that the telescope could survive for, like, 6 to 8 more years. They're just shutting it down prematurely because they don't have the funds for it. Anyways, before I become angry Z, I will stop my rant, but yeah, the Chandra X-ray telescope. Yeah, one of the goals of the Europa Clipper spacecraft is to sample the plumes. So there are literal plumes that are like emerging from Europa, and you can actually examine the chemical composition of these and see if they are hospitable to life. Yeah, no immediate replacement. Kind of sucks. Gonna drink some tea to calm down. Okay. All right, next question. Sorry, but how do I pronounce your name, Syzygy, and doesn't mean anything special? Yeah, so honestly, the way I've been going about this is whenever somebody's like, yeah, how do I pronounce your name? I literally say it rhymes with Syzygy. Like, Sizzle G. And they're like, oh, Syzygy. I think somebody put that in a comment once. I think that's my new rap name. Yeah, call me Sizzle G. Yeah. I don't know how to beatbox. Yeah, okay. So for those of you who may not know, I did make a YouTube short on this, but I'm happy to explain it once again. Syzygy is a term that means when three objects in space are in a straight line. So for example, that could include like a solar eclipse, where there's the Earth, Moon, then the Sun. Or that can be like a lunar eclipse, or that can mean like a planetary like alignment when there are multiple planets in a line. And it's a really cool idea because eclipses are gorgeous for once, but understanding like planetary alignments is also just like really important for like orbital missions. And during eclipses, we've been able to understand the sun's outer layers since the brightest part of the sun is literally covered up. So yeah, I think it's a really cool term. It also has like no vowels in it, which is so odd that a word like that even exists. And I definitely call this the best hangman word because think about it. Like everybody when they play hangman, they're gonna guess all the vowels first. And then who's gonna think like there's like a Y and a Z in there? It's so hard to guess. Sicily. Oh, oh yeah, you can say, oh, it rhymes with Sicily, but I think Syzygy has a better vibe to it, you know? All right, which planet is the stinkiest? Okay, I actually had to Google this one. It's actually, ironically enough, it's actually Uranus. And the reason for that is because they discovered hydrogen sulfide, which is a smell in rotten eggs. Yeah, it's kind of nasty. But I also think it's like kind of ironic, kind of appropriate, considering it has a very funny name. Next one. Do you think humans will ever achieve time travel from Rasen? Raisin? Rasen. Everyone's reacting to the Uranus thing. Um, I think no, because basically time travel basically is correlated with traveling faster than the speed of light. I think one, but I think you can achieve time travel in a time dilation kind of way. So, like, what do I mean by that, right? So, it's like the twins paradox. So, let's say that you have a twin that's on Earth, and you have a twin that's on a spacecraft that goes near the speed of light, goes really, really far away, and then comes back. And turns out, because the twin on the spacecraft is traveling near the speed of light, that twin would have aged less than the twin on Earth. So, like, maybe the twin on the spacecraft aged like 16 years, and the twin on Earth aged like 50 years. That is really the best that I think we can achieve time travel, and that's just a consequence of special relativity. Um, yeah, if time travel were possible, we would probably caught somebody from the future by now. Yeah. Honestly, that's really funny to think about too. Um, yeah. 1 minute here is 7 years on Earth. I love Interstellar. There's so many memes about that. It's like me during class. 1 minute here is 7 years on Earth. How do we break free from the limited causality? Yeah, honestly, the only way for us to navigate causality is to travel faster than the speed of light. That's because two events that happen one after another are time-like separated, and for us to be space-like separated, for example, that means like going back in time or having one event that happens after another to like swap roles. The only way that that could happen is if we are traveling faster than the speed of light, which is not possible. So yeah. Would not the Alkaburi... What? What is that? I think you'll have to explain that one to me. Is it true that there's an astronaut stranded in space right now? From Cheeky. Uh, yes, I heard about this. So I think the media hasn't done a really good job of navigating this. There's not astronauts that are stranded in space right now. It's more so that there was like some leaks on this like new Boeing spacecraft that they tried that has docked to the International Space Station. So these astronauts were on this like Boeing spacecraft, they docked, and then they realized that there were helium leaks. And so this mission that they were going to return back in like 2 days has been extended for much longer. But it's not like they're stranded. I mean, they could come down. It's just that there are some technical difficulties with that. And I think some people are like putting this up to be like an existential situation. It definitely is not. But it is definitely something to be. I'm a little worried about it personally. I also know that Boeing doesn't have the best rep right now, so this definitely doesn't help their case. Um, but yeah. Oh, okay. Architelos. You pinch off a bubble of space, and while the spacecraft is moving inside the bubble, is moving slower than light. The entire bubble is going faster than light. Now, I think that's really interesting because it really depends on what your reference frame is. Like, if you are with respect to Earth, you would see the spaceship traveling faster than light. So, I don't think that quite works. One of the Einstein's postulates is that the speed of light is the same in all cases. So, regardless of how you sort of navigate this, you are still limited by the same speed of light. There was a NASA scientist that made a hypothetical for a hypothetical close to C engine that does not break physics. Just need a lot of energy. I can't even imagine. I think that Earth is very far away from going near the speed of light, but I feel like it is definitely feasible one day, and that day will be a very epic day. Tika, is there a way to slow down light aside from black holes? Well, slow down light. I think the speed. I feel like there's really no way to slow it down because the light is made of photons and they kind of just travel through everything. That's actually a really good question. Here, let me jot that down. I can also get back to you on that. Is there a way to slow down light? Well, I guess with like refraction and stuff like that. I was thinking so astrophysically, I didn't even think of like the smallest case situation. But like if you have like refraction or the light is bent or it's traveling through a non-transparent substance, so like not in a vacuum. Spirits to slow down light. Yeah. Extreme cold also slow down light. I haven't thought about that either. Speeding up light is the wall. Yeah. Yeah, no, these are all really great questions. I feel like I actually don't know the answer to any of these off the top of my head. Make it cold. Light needs heat, right? I don't think that's necessarily a requirement. Light does have energy if you think about the photons traveling. Um, but if you reduce the energy, it just means that the wavelength gets longer. So, like, if you have, like, an X-ray light and it slows down over time, or I meant if you make it lose energy over time, then it would extend its wavelength. But light in a different medium travels slower than it looks like a blue. Oh, that's a really interesting application. You know, it's so funny because when I first heard that question, I was like, oh wait, like in astrophysics, like what does that mean? And then yeah. Oh, actually one interesting example is like in the center of the sun, it's so dense that the photons try to escape, but they basically get stuck. And so the way that they escape is that they sort of go through a zigzag pattern as they try to escape the sun. It actually takes, I think from the top of my head, like multiple years for a photon from the center of the sun to emerge out of the sun's surface because of that. Yeah. Next question. Wow, you guys are really having a discussion there in the class chat. I really love this Socratic seminar. Oh, 100,000 years. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty epic. I think it's crazy. That means that the light that we're seeing from the sun, it's been traveling in the sun for so many years. Bless the sun. Oh, okay. Are you majoring in astrophysics? I'm specifically in physics. I'll just say that. But I'd say my research area is astrophysics. What is the color of night? Okay, so I was like really confused by this question. Maybe there's like a reference that I'm not quite getting here, but isn't night just like black, like dark? Like maybe I'm not quite getting something. Class, if you guys have something that could help me understand this, or if there's some sort of reference I'm not getting, please let me know. Yeah. 100,000 years in 8 minutes. Yeah, can't forget those 8 minutes. Why is our solar system flat? Okay, this is a question from Tika, by the way. Oh, wait, another thing. Huge shout out to Tika. So, I'm currently trying to set up my Ko-fi page, and I'm having a lot of trouble. So I first set up a throne page, and I just put some things in it, just like really casually. And then I get an email from Tika, and basically we have a brand new video editing buddy. I think I posted about this on my YouTube community page. The video editing buddy is a shibe, a little shy plushie. Oh, he looks so round and cylindrical. And I think we're gonna name him Canis Major, which I think is very noble. So huge shout out to Tika. I also am struggling to set up my Ko-fi page, but yeah, that's a whole other bucket of worms. Yeah, no, he is the cutest doggo. I think I'll receive him like maybe when I come back. So I would love to show pictures of him once he arrives. Our little Canis Major video editing streaming buddy. All right, now to actually answer the science question. Why is our solar system flat? So when the solar system formed, it was like a huge thing of dust. It was a sphere, but it was rotating. So what happens is that the up and down motions kind of canceled out, and what was left was a spinning disk, because that was what was best with the conservation of angular momentum. So our solar system is flat because it was rotating, and that is sort of the most optimal configuration from that. Um, and I think there was another question that was next. Yeah, why are space probes always sent over towards the edge of the solar system instead of over or under the solar system? Another one from Tika. Um, and the answer to that is that basically the planets are in the solar system's plane, so they're like flat against the solar system. And so when we send these space probes, we need them to have gravitational assists, which slingshot them from one planet to another. And yeah, it's pretty epic. Yeah, no, Tika asks great questions. I really like this question because it combines like astrophysics and also like spacecraft, which are both two things I'm interested in. And yes, oh, I wanted you have a video editing buddy. Yes, he will be highly prized. I will be sure to take many, many photos. Um, oh wow, okay. Hi Z, got a kind of math related question. Currently learning about tensors, so I'm curious about what applications of them in physics you recall. So that's part one. Um, yes. So I think one really cool example is in robotics, actually. So when you move your arm, you kind of just don't really think about where to move it. So if you want to grab like a cup that's like over there, you just reach out and grab it, right? But there's actually so many joints that are taking place. So you need to know like how your wrist moves, you need to know how your shoulder moves, you need to know how your elbows move so that you can like optimally grab something. And in robotics, this has been such a really interesting area to explore because it's a main challenge. Because if we want a robot to grab something, we need to figure out what is the exact configuration of joints and like what angles do they have to move at to grab an object. And one interesting thing is that one way that we're trying to explore that is with tensors. And so you can actually put the different joints into a big tensor and determine what is the optimal way to go from one tensor to another. I think also another great example with tensors is just in inertia tensors. So understanding like how objects move. And in quantum mechanics, we even use tensors to explore the relationship between spin and angular momentum for particles, which is also a whole other bucket of worms that I would love to do like a quantum mechanics series about because I feel like I think it would take like many, many, many videos, maybe like even upwards of 10 videos, but it would be really cool to like explore like how did we think of spin? Like how are spin and angular momentum connected? How are we able to predict like what happens when two particles collide? Stuff like that. So many really exciting questions. And even things like how does quantum tunneling work? Because there's actually a really simple like mathematical proof for it. All these great questions that would be amazing. Oh, and the second part of your question, also if you took part in scientific researches at any point, how did time distribute between juggling formulas and practical aspects? So I guess I do mostly coding. So I think my time is mostly 80% coding, 20% juggling formulas. I really like that 20% though, because it's really a great way to um, sort of be like a mad scientist. Like you basically get like a whiteboard out and you're like writing these equations like you're in Interstellar and being like, ah, yes, I need to use the tensor for this and that. But I think it really depends from research to research. I think a lot of astrophysics nowadays is very coding based, but I've also heard of people who do more theoretical work who basically all that they do is like they read papers and they work on formulas. So like really what you see in like movies and stuff like that. And that's a whole other different of physics too. I miss spin. Honestly saying, I will definitely do some videos on this. Oh, tensors are used in fluid dynamics. Yes, that's another great point. Computer graphics uses a lot of physics in more ways than you might realize. Actually, there are a lot of professors that I've heard who are now teaching like physics, and they started out like as CS designers for movies and stuff like that. I think there was one physics professor or one CS professor who worked on Avatar, the movie, and yeah, no, pretty cool stuff. I don't really know much about that, but yeah, there's a lot of really interesting connections between computer science and physics. The possibilities are limitless. Okay, another, whoa, okay, hold up, I gotta zoom into this one. Hello, PogChamp. I've always thought that nowadays the dialogue between scientific research and society is more compromised than in the past. The recent events during the COVID period and the defunding of space project have confirmed that multiple scientific fields are affected. We are witnessing a paradoxical increase in pseudosciences in an era where information should be easily accessible. Yep. As someone immersed in the scientific community, how do you perceive this problem? Do you think the approach to scientific communication should change? How can we restore trust in science and faith in research? Yeah, no, this is a very relevant and very timely question because I think during the COVID-19 pandemic, as the question suggested, there was a lot of questions about misinformation, a lot of concerns about misinformation and what that works and how that affects people. Like for example, I know that the Brazilian president at the time was telling people to like consume some not so safe ingredients to try to navigate COVID. And this was a literal person leading a country. There was also like the Great Barrington Declaration where some scientists even announced that it would be best to like turn down COVID like social distancing because it would be best to have like herd immunity in like low risk groups, which was definitely disproven. But it also demonstrates that like this is an issue that's not just limited to like a small minority of people spreading misinformation, but it can also originate from people who are in places of power or even scientists that people may trust. So I think it's definitely a relevant question. I think there are multiple ways to navigate this. And in general, the best way is just to be proactive. Like when you see information, like the first thing you should do is to question it and to make sure that it's correct. But I think in general, the first thing I think is platforms need to do a much better job of managing information, especially misinformation. I think that sometimes maybe on Twitter or on like Facebook, like things go around and they stay around. And who knows, maybe dozens of people seen a post before it gets taken down. And within that time, maybe one of those dozen people actually believe what was said. I think the second thing is to have existing scientists and institutions be more vocal when there are misinformation crises. Of course, there are some issues with that, like during the Great Barrington Declaration when there were scientists saying that we should not do COVID restrictions, like that was definitely not a good look. But in most cases, existing scientists and institutions will have a better way of navigating this. And I think even with being a part of the audience, like improving scientific literacy, helping people recognize misinformation, similar to how you're able to recognize a computer virus or a scam, would be great. And I think this last thing, off the top of my head, is probably the most important in my opinion, which is making sure that there are news sources or reliable sources that are open access. I think nowadays, a lot of things are behind paywalls, whether that's news sources, whether that's research papers. And that also means that the everyday person who just wants to know something quick about science won't be able to access it because it's behind a paywall. And that means that places that are more biased or maybe want to have the intention of spreading misinformation are not behind a paywall. And they basically saturate the internet. It creates this echo chamber of people who are hearing these things because it's not behind a paywall and then just spreading it out. And so I think that's sort of the best way to navigate that. I think the COVID-19 pandemic was definitely a wake-up call for a lot of people. And even me, myself, I was really just caught off guard by some of the things that were being shared online. And so it's really in everybody's best interest to double check and have that sort of scientific literacy and to make an effort. But it's also the responsibility of these platforms and institutions to navigate this well as well. Yeah, how to read a scientific article is not an easy skill. Yeah, I think fortunately there have been a lot of like YouTubers. I really aspire to be like this too, to make sure that scientific information can still be accessible. I've also been seeing the rise of websites that are focused on taking complicated scientific papers and making them into like a layperson summary for somebody who is new to the field. A really great example is Astrobytes. What they do is that they take new research papers or new discoveries and they include the same figures, but they translate the results in a way that somebody who has never heard about maybe like how do galaxies die or anything like that and help them understand. So that's really great. Um, yeah, no, we live in society. Yeah, no, scientists often have to pay journals to make the. Yeah, no, I've definitely seen a lot of this. Scientists have to pay journals to make the articles they wrote open access. And I guess it is good for the scientists because they would maybe get more citations. But it also means, what about the scientists who don't pay for the open access? That means that for the general public, their science is not available. And I think a big theme of the scientific community should be that science should be accessible to everybody. Yeah, the research paper paywall is ridiculous. I agree with that too. Yeah, no. I think yeah, without paywalls, yeah, there's of course it's not as easy as like just taking down paywalls. I think publications would also need to put like ads into their like websites, which would be really odd. Um, yeah. So the problem still remains, but I think there are sort of better ways of navigating it. I think one example was like just like how I mentioned with the astrobytes, they translate research papers into a way that's easy for everybody to understand. Yeah. Emailing the author. Wait, that's actually great advice. That's amazing. Oh yeah, Space Guy Rye. Yeah, there is so much fake science clickbait out there. I think that's also I think I had a question in here that's like one of my what is my pet peeves in academia. I've been seeing a lot of this. Now that there's like the rise of the internet and whatever, what people do is that they put these really crazy, slightly exaggerated headlines as their research paper articles, and that would garner more clicks, more views, um, which is great for the scientists, but it also means that we are unintentionally exaggerating things, and it really just forces people to have like this mindset of like they need the next big discovery if they want to be popular, if they want to be famous or well known for their science. And if you think about it, if one person exaggerates their title a little bit, then it's like the next scientist comes along is like, oh, maybe this is already done, and has to exaggerate a bit more and then a bit more, and then before you know it, it's just layers upon layers, and yeah, it's just losing the credibility of science. Yeah, undergraduate education don't actually push people to seek the scholastic access. I think one good thing about being a student though is that you can basically access research papers through your institution, which is great, but not everybody falls into that demographic. Yeah, fake academic papers are also on the rise. Biden pushed through a Klofnibr, the executive order for open access to research paper that received federal funding. Kind of backfired because a lot of journals started publishing corporate research. Ooh, yikes. Okay, yeah, no, that is not fun. Um, it's yeah, no, there's really just ups and downs to everything. It's like you might think that this one solution is easy, but there's just so many strings attached. Yeah, lots of fake scientific videos out of TikTok too. And it's really absurd because all these like crazy headlines are just getting so many clicks and views, and people like that. But I feel like one thing that I really just want to emphasize with my channel is just that I want to make sure everything is well researched. Everything has like proper like citations. Like for example, I used an animation in one of my previous videos. Like that was something that was well researched by that creator. Um, and just like the really from an individual perspective, the best thing that like I can really do is just to emanate good vibes and credibility. But yeah, no, it's just really unfortunate. Justify the cost of research. Oh wait, yeah, no, don't even get me started on the Large Hadron Collider. I mean, I think they're also planning to build a bigger one that's like $10 billion extra. And even seeing how these NASA projects are getting defunded, it's really just an uphill battle for science. It's just really unfortunate. Yeah, well sourced and peer reviewed. Exactly. Yeah, no, that was a really deep question. Thank you so much to PogChamp. I think this is PogChamp Senpai who's in the chat right now who submitted this question. Oh, okay. Another one from PogChamp. Hi Z, got another question for you. As a person with a telecom engineering background, the concept of information exchange has always fascinated me. What can you tell us about the difficulties of communicating with the furthest probes we sent out or a potential mission to Mars? Okay, so for the first question, I think the biggest concern or challenge is the time delay. For example, the Voyager 1 spacecraft is our furthest sent spacecraft. It's just left the solar system. It is so far away that it literally takes 22 hours to communicate with it. So if there's something that happens last minute, it ain't getting fixed. But it also, another concern is that it takes time for things to be sent out into space. Voyager 1 is like 40 something years old. That means that the technology that's on there that was exploring the planets is decades old. Which also means that, like, maybe it's time for us to send another spacecraft, but at the same time, it's really an uphill battle with funding. I think a big potential mission to Mars issue is also like there is a bit of time delay. I think it's like a few minutes, which means that missions really need to be coded to respond to things, even if there is no human that is able to respond to an issue in a hand. If you're talking about potential human missions to Mars, I think the biggest concern is the travel time. It takes like 6 years to get there. Actually, it's probably, no, it's probably more like 4 years to get there. But think about it, like you are in a tiny spacecraft for 4 years with a small number of people, and you can't really communicate to anybody back at Earth. There have been a lot of studies done to explore the psychological effects of this, but it's really a challenge. It's a human challenge. Yeah. And I thought my ping was bad. Yeah. Was that? Yeah, no, Voyager is probably one of the most impressive things ever. Drop the Wi-Fi. 3 to 22 minutes from Earth to Mars. Yep. It's a labor of love. Yeah. Honestly, Voyager, it's really impressive how we have literally gotten a spacecraft out of the solar system and it has been able to explore basically all of the planets and even some objects that are out there in the Kuiper Belt, which is amazing. The second part of this question is, are there any theoretical models that allow for data exchange at speeds faster than light? Qubits video soon. Oh, so I guess you are talking about quantum tunneling. Not quantum tunneling, like, what's it called? The quantum entanglement. I think there's a theorem called the no information theorem or no communication theorem that states that even if you have two quantum entangled particles and you sent them really far away from each other, you can't communicate at speeds faster than light. Because if you were to measure the properties of the particle, it would still be like a probability. So basically you wouldn't know the outcome. And there's probably a more deeper mathematical reason as to why that is the case. Though I think qubits are just like a really fascinating concept. I definitely want to make a video on that. Thank you so much for the suggestion. But yeah, yeah, the outcomes are still random when measured. Thank you so much to PogChamp for these really deep questions. Okay, a bit more of a lighthearted question. Northern Hemisphere star map gang or Southern Hemisphere gang? Wait, I should totally do a poll for this. Here, let's see. Northern Hemisphere star or Southern Hemisphere star map? Yes or no? Southern. All right, vote. I am a Northern Hemisphere star map person. That's just because I'm more familiar with it. Though, I think the summer triangles, like in the Northern Hemisphere, I think like Orion is. I think the best part about the Southern Hemisphere, though, is that they have this constellation called Crux, and it's basically like 4 bright stars. I've always wanted to see it. I think it would look super epic. But I think the Northern Hemisphere has like Polaris, like Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, just all these like familiar constellations that I kind of grew up with. So I think that's my answer. Looks like most of you guys voted for. Oh, wait. Okay, it's still going back and forth a little bit. But most of you guys did Northern? Okay. All right. Are there already regulations that prohibit the exploitation of the moon as a common good of humanity? Oh, okay. This is a bit of a rabbit hole because my side passion is like space policy. There's this outer space treaty back in like 1967 that said that you can't. Basically, I think it said that the space is international waters. And then there was like the Artemis Accords and the Moon Treaty that said that the moon is a common good of humanity. A single nation cannot like place a flag on the moon and be like, that's mine. But there's a bit of an issue to that because these policies say nothing about, like, for example, like if a private company were to take a part of the moon and like mine it, it says nothing about that. It says something, nothing about resource exploitation. So if a nation were to try to exploit resources, there's really no regulations on that. TLDR, space policy is really just, it needs to be improved. Um, I think there was also another thing where it's basically like not illegal to make like some sort of like nuclear satellites. Um, and so it really just demonstrates that we need to do a much better job of navigating space policy. Do you guys think that would be a really cool video idea? Orbeez, what do you guys think? I feel like it's definitely like something that's a bit more nerdy, not as physics related. But I feel like if you like space, you might as well like space policy, right? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the moon is technically treated like Antarctica, similar to international waters. But I think things get really weird when you start thinking about, like, resource exploitation. Please don't privatize the moon. Sad emoji. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. The Orbeez have spoken. Okay, if I subscribe, will you please do a drunk physics lecture stream? So, I guess that brings me to one of my ideas, which is when I hit 500 subs, there will be some major events. So I'm really hoping that we can hit it before I leave. That includes potentially a space for us to chat about physics. I wonder what it might be. And I think I also asked this on my Twitter. But I'm low-key dropping like a lo-fi video, like a lo-fi beats to listen to as you traverse a space-time continuum. So that might also be a cute surprise as well. Um, yeah. Ventrilo server, what is that? Well, I think many of you guys know what I'm talking about. But maybe this is a good idea also to celebrate. Okay. Whether it be astrophysics or engineering, any subject that have you where you just couldn't grasp for a specific concept for a long period of time. Did you end up in the end managing to wrap your head around it? What do you do when you face a concept you don't intuitively get? Squad XEO. Yeah, no, this is a great question because there are many times where I cannot grasp a concept or are struggling to wrap my head around something and I really need to sit down. I think the first thing that I do is I try to like sit down with it and figure it out. If that doesn't work, I also try to like step away from it and then come back to it. Because I think that really helps me like clear my mind. I really like going for runs, going for walks. I think I also like to search for videos on YouTube. There are a lot of amazing teachers out there, so even if I don't have like a teacher that I can reach out to or something like that or a mentor, then there's some videos online. I think also another big part is like asking questions. In the chance that you can ask questions, just like being able to ask questions in every specific way. I think I honestly before was really afraid to ask questions. Like I thought I was getting judged or criticized or whatever. But at the end of the day, like it's really amazing to have somebody have like that aha moment. And so honestly, being able to ask questions or even answering questions for somebody else is just a great feeling. Amazing teachers like you. Aw, thank you so much. That's so sweet. You Orbeez are the best students. I will really try my best. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, like, please do not hesitate. I also, once we hit 500 subs and the mysterious community discussion place gets opened, I also have a place for you guys to ask questions. And if you guys want to DM me on Twitter, I'm also very active there. So I hope that I can also be a great teacher or some sort of guide if you guys have any questions. But Odie's Void, I will never comprehend the size. Yeah, exactly. Ventrilo. Who don't want to remember I don't, oh my god, wait, I've never heard of this. I am just uncultured. Okay, wow. Okay, 1 hour and 20 minutes later, we have gone through all the science questions, which means that we are going to have a brief intermission. Let me drink a bit more of my tea. All right. it's time for the honorable mentions. These are probably some of the craziest. Some of you orbeez are wild. Some of you orbeez are diabolical. So we're gonna go through these. Um, I don't even want to read these out loud. Bro, I read the first one and I disappeared. I disappeared. What do you mean figure out what the best coefficient of friction is, bro? Are you the kind of VTuber that likes headpad? I'm not even gonna answer that one. Okay, I feel like the third one is actually, okay. Are you an electron because you're attractive? That's actually kind of sweet. Thank you so much. What is your workout routine? Well, technically because I'm traveling at the speed of light, I'm actually burning a quadrillion calories every day by traveling at the speed of light. Did you know that? Yeah, no, some of you guys are strangelets. Some of you guys are nasty orbitals. How somebody for calling you mommy Cosmos. I saw this and I contemplated like evaporating. Headpad. Okay, fine. Headpads aren't bad. It was just like, it was like I think I saw this question right after the one that was like, what are your favorite paradoxes? And I was like, wow, like that's like a really deep question. Like, what are my favorite paradoxes? And then I see and I refresh the page and it's like, are you the kind of VTuber that likes headpads? I was like, yeah, no, these are just really funny. But also, these were also these like these kind of made my day. These kind of made my day. These kind of made me like laugh out loud. These are very adorable. And also this means that the I'm going to close the poll. Northern Hemisphere wins by 67%. I just realized that my music has not been playing. Has it? Oh no. Oh no, guys. My background music has not been playing. Imagine neutrino detector as trying to give headpads to neutrinos. Yes, that's actually a really great way of thinking about this in a physics way, you know? Okay, well, I don't want to drag on this stream too much, but the next section is going to be about Z, aka about me, and we are going to do this sort of rapid fire style, as best as I can. So let's just zoom through these. All about Z. Pineapple on pizza. No. Hard no. I think pineapple, like, I don't like pineapples in general. They're too sharp. Like, here, let me do a poll. I want to see what you orbeez think. Pineapple on pizza? Yeet. Oh, heck nar. I just feel like I don't like pineapples in general, and I just don't think that tropical taste works well on pizza. What is your favorite villain, super or otherwise? Huh. Okay, this is so nerdy, but the first anime I ever watched was Puella Magi Modica Magica. I don't think I said that right, but Modica Magica. And Homura was like the best like villain. Like she just had like the craziest arc. Like she is my version of the Roman Empire. Like sometimes I just like sit back and I'm like, wow, like that was just like a crazy turn of events. Yeah, I don't trust any food that tries to digest you back. Exactly. Favorite space object and why? I love the Lagoon Nebula. I will definitely send more astrophotography on my Twitter, so be sure to follow me there. I think my favorite galaxy has to be the Silver Coin Galaxy. I've been trying to get a really good photo of it recently, but I will send it once it is done. Pineapple and Canadian bacon. See, I love Canadian bacon. I love ham, but no pineapple. No, you are not a good orbeez. I'm just joking. For academy background, what's your pet peeves? I think I mentioned this earlier, just research papers that tend to exaggerate, people who intentionally spread misinformation just for clicks and views. I really just believe that the internet, like people believe a lot of things that are said on the internet, so the first thing to do is just to make sure that all of the information you share is just well researched. Chimera Zone, what is your favorite genre of music? Okay, so K-pop. Orbeez, please don't hate me for this. Please don't hate me. Okay, but in reality, I really do like EDM. Um, Not like the rave style EDM. I really just like Porter Robinson. He just makes like amazing music. He released a new album called Smile. It is his masterpiece. It is his magnum opus. It is so good. I also just like anime music, just any music that makes me very nostalgic. I feel like when I listen to music, I can remember memories that I had when I listened to it. So yeah. Oh, and looks like pineapple on pizza is a yes. Nar, you Orbeez have to go to the principal's office, except that I am both the teacher and the principal. You Orbeez are getting detention, after school detention for all of you. Okay, tell us about your personality quirks. Um, I guess, TBH, I think I'm pretty epic, but I don't know, personality quirks? I don't know. I feel like surreal meme humor is like what I would describe myself as. I think that's really the best thing. I think also just like when I have drunken some of the alcoholic fluids, um, I actually get like more nerdy. It's like really weird. Um, I basically like go down like really weird like rabbit holes. I'm actually able to do some types of math better. So I think being nerdy, but I don't think that's a quirk. I think that's something to be proud of. I'm very proud that I'm a nerd. Um, do you read or write science fiction? Oh, I do not write at all, but I do read a lot. I really like The Martian, all of Andy Weir's books. Project Hail Mary, I have a copy of it in my room. It's amazing. Um, I also really like all of Ted Chiang's short stories. Um, some of them have really stuck with me. Ray Bradbury, I really want to read The Martian Chronicles. I read it one time a really long time ago, but I need to reread it again. Um, yeah. What are your hobbies? Okay, so outside of being an epic teacher and continuously studying physics and looking at galaxy photos, um, I really like building. I like to like solder things together. Um, I think also I have been getting into like crocheting. I actually kind of am low key kind of epic. I made an do you guys know like the Among Us character? I made an Among Us, but it's like a long Among Us. Um so it's like super stretched out. Like it's about like half as tall as me, which is pretty epic. Robert Miles Children, that was the first techno song I heard. Oh, I've not heard that song. Orbeez trolling. Do you have any pets? Yes, I do. I do have a dog. I've named the dog Doge. Doge is like a little puppy. I will take pictures if I can. But Doge is very epic. What is your opinion on philosophy? I think I talked about this earlier. I think it's a really good way of thinking of reasons to define the universe. I think a lot of physicists look into philosophy because they want to have better answers about like these like large scale structures that they're seeing and have something be like a grand unifier. I think humans naturally want the answers to everything, and that is sort of a way of navigating that. So I think it's pretty good. I think I myself am not that interested in philosophy, but maybe it's something that is worth exploring. Who inspires you to make content? I think scientific communicators like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I think in the VTuber squad, honestly, Faye has been like such a great inspiration. She is a biology VTuber and she just makes like amazing content. Um, and I think like just like out of the VTubers, I really like grew up like first watching like Hololive Myth. Like I really just like Ame, like Amelia Watson. I think she's my favorite. She's just it's just crazy like how she was able to make like all the 3D like VTuber stuff for the rest of Myth. Um yeah, no, I just thought she's really epic. I think Mori Calliope. I suck at like singing, rapping, or any of that, but yeah, I think she's pretty epic too. Um, I guess you guys are probably familiar with Whole Life Myth. Who is your guys' favorite? I feel like Gargura is like pretty much like very popular as well. Okay, yeah, no, this is like the trifecta of questions. Discord when? Discord when? Do you have any plans to get moderators? I'm just gonna say when we hit 500 subs, I'm not implying anything. I'm not implying anything. but maybe potentially hypothetically these questions will be answered. Oh, Ina is amazing. Her art makes me wish I never picked up a pencil in my entire life. She's so talented. Oh, Kiara is amazing too. She's so sweet. Yeah. Oh, Fuamoko. Oh, I'm like not as much caught up on the new generations. I like Narissa Ravencroft. She's amazing. Oh no, Crony, like her voice acting is so good. Oh wait, yeah, no, I remember watching Kureiji Ollie's like debut. Like that was one of like the core memories of my life. Um, yeah. Uh, what is your sense of humor like? Very surreal. I think it's very epic. I don't know. How would you guys define my sense of humor? I'm not sure. Would you do ASMR? I don't think. Do you guys think I have like an ASMR voice? I feel like my voice is very. How do I put it? Like, I think my voice is kind of like low, kind of loud. I don't. Oh, thank you to. Wow, that was the first time I saw that animation. I was kind of scared. Thank you to Steve Ortiz for subscribing. I like forgot that animation existed for a second. Yeah, yes. My humor is out of this world. Oh, Fauna does great ASMR. I wish I could ASMR like her, but I feel like my voice is not very like I think her voice is very like soft. I can't quite explain it very well. But I guess if you guys want ASMR, I think Faye was suggesting that I could do a stream where I say Syzygy for like an hour straight. I could do that type of ASMR, or I could do like anime girl VTuber whispers about physics for 1 hour straight. Would you guys like that? I don't know what type of content you guys want. Hypothetically, what would you do if you lived in a shoe? Personally, I refurbish it. Honestly, if I lived in a shoe, yeah, no, I'd really like it would be like an epic house, like the type of house that you'd want when you were little. Um like maybe you have like an upper floor, like a treehouse style, and then it would have like windows and like a door, and maybe I like use the shoelaces to like be like laser beams, like like you activate it and the shoelaces go from like limp to like pew, and then they can like shoot like imposters nearby. Oh yeah, no. I'm referring to a clean shoe, by the way, like a brand new, like fresh shoe. I think I would definitely want to live in like a boot because then it would be like super high up. Yeah, no. Honestly, stop radio telescope ASMR. Yeah, no. I honestly I don't understand the appeal of ASMR either. I there was one ASMR video I watched that was like yandere boyfriend gets like hit by a car. I was disturbed. That was enough internet for that day. Do you have any mental abilities not dissimilar to eidetic memory or an acute form of synesthesia? Oh wait, I've heard of these terms. The answer is no. I really wish. It would be really cool to have like photographic memory. I think I have the opposite of photographic memory in that I forget things really often. Um, and the synesthesia is the one where you can where you see like colors when you like listen to things or stuff like that, right? Yeah, no, I don't have that either, but I feel like that would be a pretty epic lifestyle to live. I could read research papers while doing ASMR. That would be kind of funny. Are you neurodivergent? We won't kick you. I didn't even know that there was a club, TBH. No, I'm not. Though I didn't know that a club even existed. I guess I feel like I'm like very like outspoken, but I'm not like neurodivergent in any way. Oh, that's it. Oh my god, we finished. We finished. It's so Jover. No, wait, no. Jover means that it's bad. But it's over, guys. We have finally went through 70 plus questions in an hour 30 minutes. Oh, wait. Synesthesia is annoying. What? I feel like it wouldn't be annoying. I feel like it would be pretty epic. In what ways is it annoying? Yeah. Well, wow. Okay. That was a lot of questions. Yes, applause. Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow. No, this was great. I'm actually really glad that we did this stream because I always have wanted to do this and you guys are really great with asking me questions and keep the questions going. And if you forgot to ask questions, be sure to put them into the form above as well. Yeah, here, let me just delete this. Boop. Yay! How are you guys feeling now? Well, I think that this has been a pretty epic stream, in my opinion. I think for the next one, what were we planning to do again? I think we were planning to do... I might need to check. I should know this off the top of my head. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, we're doing the smash or pass nebulae galaxies. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna get a huge list of galaxies and nebulae, and you guys can help contribute. Also, I have been staying up quite late these past few days, working on my new explainer series and new videos. I think I'm gonna post the one on a star that's going to explode, that you guys can actually see. It's going to explode before the end of this month, and you guys can actually like look up and see it. I've actually been taking pictures of it every single day to get a time lapse of it. Yeah. Yeah, no, Tika, you're so right. It should be named Big Bang or Pass Galaxies. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Alexander, for the nice background. Thank you, Ricardo Bergen. Thank you, Tika. Thank you, Space Guy Rai. And hello, JBM. We are actually just wrapping up. Yeah, no, time flies so fast, and you guys are really just like active in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, oh, this has also given me a lot of great video ideas. So yeah. And I guess speaking of Tika, I do have a throne page, but yeah, that just exists. If you guys want to buy a coffee or anything like that. I think also Faye has really inspired me once, if I get monetized, to donate a large portion of my proceedings to charities or stuff like that. One group that I'm really passionate about is like Save the Children, or books that promote literacy in underserved communities. I think like especially now there are a lot of like war-stricken communities where students have lost the ability to get educated, or even like coding, sponsoring coding for women or for groups of people who haven't had these opportunities in the past. So I think that would be a really good thing to think about. Yeah, no, and I think there's this one called like Room for Reading that like donates books to people who haven't had the opportunity to read. Yeah, to get back on the physics track, by the way. Chris Vig Hagen says T Corona Borealis. Yep, that's the name. It's also called the Blaze Star. I think it's been slowly increasing in brightness, but it's going to go nova, so that's a little bit different from a supernova in that it's not just gonna like, it's not dying, but rather it's just an explosion that happens every so years. See, you should put some of your donation towards your own research. It's hard to get funding in this dog-eat-dog world. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, no, I definitely would want to do that as well. I think it would be great to have like a good portion donated, and yeah, a good, also like I am not a full-time VTuber. This is mostly me just like drinking coffee and staying up late and editing videos. So I definitely would appreciate your guys' support. Apply for NASA. Yeah, no, I thought about donating to the Chandra X-ray telescope because that's one thing I'm really passionate about, but it doesn't seem like there's really a group that's up, and also there's really so little that a single individual can do. I think one thing that's also in my goals list is to donate to the Adopt a Star program. What that does is that we get to adopt a star and name it, which is super cool, but in exchange they use the money to help support classrooms and help students get educated about astronomy and astrophysics, which I think is really amazing. Yeah, and I think T Corona Borealis is a little bit like a star farting. It is like a mini nova, a mini explosion that happens. But yeah, that's basically a lot to think about. But yeah, no, I definitely appreciate your guys' support. I feel like this definitely wouldn't have been possible without you guys. After all, I really just started out as just an ordinary like student who just thought about doing this on a whim. And yeah, I think one thing that is definitely worth thinking about as well is like when the school year begins once again, I will definitely need to balance my time between this and my actual life. But you guys have been really great at like motivating me, and I really want to do like study together streams and let you know about like what I've been working on and stuff like that. So, yeah, a lot of really exciting things planned. Um, I think this week and next week will be a really great time for us to spend time together before the big, I wouldn't say big hiatus, but before I'll be like no longer live streaming for a bit, and then I'd be happy to like post the explainer videos and see what you guys think of those. I'm so excited to share those with you guys. I really put like my blood, sweat, and tears into a lot of these videos. Yay! I will definitely be writing your channel name on everywhere. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet. Physics students rise up. Oh yeah, thank you, Hypenit11. Yeah, I think it's about time we wrap up. Um, but I'm so excited for the next stream, guys. It's gonna be great. Big bang or pass. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Let's actually quickly check the forum and see if you guys have submitted any questions. Oh, we got quite a few questions. So, yeah, I will definitely do another one of these when I come back. But yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. I will see you later. See you guys, Orbeez. Have a good morning, afternoon, night, wherever you guys are coming from. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to subscribe. Subscribe. That is a threat. And follow me on Twitter or X to see my astrophotography, which I've been also working on as well. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. See you later. Be sure to subscribe. I'm watching you. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe. All right, bye.